Salad or Dolly, threw a great party. We all drank Bacardi, it got kinda gnarly. We're light as a feather, we're tougher than leather. Together we're weirder together.
Hello, this is Ben Lee.
And Ione Sky.
And this is our podcast.
Yes, it is.
And its name is?
Weirder Together.
A name that occasionally people stumble over. It has some kind of like, I don't know, there's like a little
Weirder
thing.
Together.
Weirder Together. It does a little funny thing on the tongue. But much like us, we do a little funny thing on the tongue. Yeah, that describes our careers. How are you, my love?
I'm great. I'm really, really good. It's been a fun day. The rain stopped. It's beautiful. Everyone's running around town.
You're having some big meetings. You're moving. You're shaking.
Having some good meetings this morning.
Power moves.
Yeah, it's Monday in Sydney, and it's a real work day for me.
Oh, yeah. Just wanted to start by acknowledging our music community was really just had a huge loss last week with our friend Jill Sobule, amazing singer-songwriter, passed away. Jill and I collaborated on a record called Nostalgia Kills. I produced it for her back in, I think, 2018. And she was just such a force of nature.
Yeah.
What an incredible person, an incredible musician.
Yeah. She wrote, I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It, that Katy Perry covered.
No, it wasn't a cover. I just used the same title.
Oh.
It was a totally different song.
Oh.
But Jill had the first openly gay Billboard Top 40 hit ever with I Kissed a Girl.
Right.
And then Katy Perry wrote another song called I Kissed a Girl 10
I
years
knew
later.
her a little bit because of the gay scene in LA, and she was sort of in it. And then thankfully you did an album with her, because then I saw her every day. And once you become friends with Jill, she's so full of life and made everyone so happy, and was just very unique and just incredible.
And a true bohemian, lived for making music and connecting with other artists.
And everybody loved her. She was so connected, but in such a lovely way. Like, she knew so many people in the business, but it was so genuine. Genuine people. She had patrons, I suppose, but it was just because she was so talented, and then everyone believed in her. But the way she moved through the business was really admirable.
She was an early adopter of crowdfunding too, and she really, for someone who came out of the box with a massive hit, she pivoted through the industry over and over again, and was just someone that great, talented people were attracted to and wanted to work with. And I mean, the album I produced of hers, we had Wayne Kramer from the MC5 play guitar, John Doe from X do backing vocals, and Ralph Carney, Tom Waits' horn player, everyone loved Jill and just wanted to work with her. And she just brought magic and playfulness to all of our lives.
I know. It's always sad when someone amazing, when there's so many rotten people still living, and then the really nice ones go. You're like, why that one? No.
I know. It's funny because I do feel like with Jill, though, sometimes artists die and you feel that people didn't let them know how loved they were. I do feel like people let Jill know.
Yeah.
And I feel really good about that I think she felt appreciated. Obviously, everyone wants to make more money in the arts and wants to have more, being an artist is a treacherous road. But people were very, they just really, I don't know, everyone came out and supported her and made her feel appreciated, I think.
I know. It's strange when someone dies and you've lost touch for a while. That's kind of confusing.
Yeah, or an artist who's sort of lost career momentum and sort of you haven't heard from them. But she was on tour. She had a show called Fuck 7th Grade she'd written that was touring around.
She never stopped.
She never stopped. And I was re-listening to Nostalgia Kills this week, and it was I put it as our pick of the week. I emailed it out so people can check it out there. But it's so interesting. It really struck me how she wrote about sex. There's this song called 25 Cents on the album that's kind of mourning a sleazier, simpler time I'm not sure whether it's San Francisco or Times Square. I think it's Times Square. And she's just kind of wistfully remembering the like peep shows and the hookers and kind of just like this. And she was she had a kind of like sex positivity that from I Kissed a Girl forward, I think was like, it's interesting because she was sort of a political activist too, but she never lost this sort of playful, I don't know, interest in sexual freedom and stuff. It was really beautiful. Beautiful stuff. So you lived through, I think, your first Aussie election.
Oh, yeah.
How was that for you?
Sausage sizzle.
Got the free sausage?
It wasn't, this one was, they were charging at the school to raise money for the school. So it wasn't free. I thought it was going to be free, but.
The freedom sausages or whatever they're called.
But yeah, it's good. I think the one silver lining with Trump is he's making other countries, people were worried it would do this domino effect of right wing. But now I think he's freaked everyone out. So Canada and Australia are going the other way.
Yeah. I saw the Batuta Advocate put on Instagram today, Trump actually very good at uniting countries that aren't his own.
Right.
You know?
Instead of literally bringing them together for a handshake.
And it's been a really, like, if you do lean progressive, there's been a series of sort of rough steps the last few years with the referendum and different things that it's pretty easy to lose faith in. I don't know, like you start going like, am I in a 100% racist country? I really hope not, but it's that, but there's enough people that I think really took a stand against divisive politics. And that's sort of what's exciting about this victory too. It's not like Albo's like going to solve all the world's problems or Australia's problems, but I do like the idea that like, it was a vote for sanity and for compassion, which is a very nice thing. Was it a different vibe to American elections for you?
Less than I thought. Like just going in those rooms, it reminded me of when I vote. At our old
by choice as an American.
I
too.
know
Yeah.
that's the only thing is here I guess everyone has to vote, which is good, I think. But the vibe, it's like communal and it's cozy and sweet. So yeah, for at least where I was voting in LA, it felt similar.
Yeah, totally.
Which was good. What was I gonna say? Yeah, that's all. But it was good. I was proud to see you vote, even though you have to.
Yeah. Hey, numbered them 1 to 6, like the best of them. We went to the new Cafe Freda's, Bar Freda's.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, that was
night,
so
wasn't
great.
It?
Yeah. Whenever a place changes location, it's always like Largo and Los Angeles. It's always worrying, is it going to have the same vibe? But this was like amazing because there's so many different rooms at the new Freda's. And it reminded me almost of one of those big LA clubs, but in the best way, where there's different rooms, like, different dance floors. And our friend did the look of it. Carla also has Freda's, but she also decorates and she's an artist. And it gives this kind of like artistic DIY vibe. Anyway, I want to go there a lot just for one kind of little dance.
I'm just so happy that it really feels like Sydney, like Freda's when it was at Taylor Square, they did create this incredible scene and it became sort of like a cultural and creative hub.
Yeah.
But I feel like this has the chance to make it even bigger and take it further. And it's interesting because I do think it's a real mission for them. Like as we got in there, Carla was like, we're waking Sydney up. We're here to wake Sydney up. And it's like, Sydney needs that. Sydney needs a place that you can go. At least Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, still dancing till 3 a.m. in the morning with cool people. Like I loved it.
And Freda's was good because you would always run into someone that you might know. So those kind of moments in time where you go to clubs and it's going to be interesting and you're going to probably see someone that's like these ideal golden eras. So I'm looking forward to that.
A lot of internet dialogue this week around the new Louis Theroux documentary, The Settlers, which premiered on BBC in the UK. In Australia, you can watch it on YouTube. People are putting it up and gets taken down, put it up again. Mm-hmm. But fascinating documentary. I'm curious what you thought.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's such a big subject to cover. Like, I thought it was going to be a sort of history lesson of actually Jewish people coming to Israel, but I didn't know much about the settlers and
the occupied territories.
Yeah. And so I think it's good to keep remembering there's different groups of people, obviously Israelis and Jewish people, that there's different mentalities, different groups, different sects,
And this portrays the most extreme right-wing expansionist.
Yeah, it's a study
front,
on it, an expansionist, which is sort of like Trump and a lot of people in history, that idea of expanding and taking over, not even so much to take over for a business sense, like some people conquered countries so they could get, whatever, the spices from the country or the this or that. This is more of a mentality of expanding, a belief system of expanding. So I think it's important to see that separating Jewish people, Israeli people, because there's the Israelis in it who are protecting the olive farmers.
The Palestinian olive farmers.
Yeah. So there's obviously Israelis who are completely not fanatically religious.
They're in resistance.
They're in resistance. They're not necessarily religious, and they don't have a mission. This is like a political and a mission to expand even further.
Yeah, and similarly, it should go without saying by now that the propaganda idea that all Palestinians are violent and there's obviously innocent people just being hurt left, right, and center in this. But what do you find about Louis Theroux is so interesting. I've loved his work for years, and he's someone who really puts himself almost in a Hunter S. Thompson way in this gonzo, in the center of the action in quite dangerous situations.
Yeah.
And just as a strategy for taking the viewer somewhere that they wouldn't normally have access to, it's amazing.
Yeah, because it doesn't explain all sides. Psychologically, why would someone want to expand? I sort of have my understanding of why people get into that mentality. But you don't see all sides of things that are going on. You just see what he captured, and so but that's kind of honest because that's what he captured. He captured what he captured, which was the kind of biggest thing was this one woman who single-handedly, this settler woman, was the sort of one of the main spearheads of this current group of settlers who are camping illegally
in violation of international law. Yeah.
And they have a huge belief. They very much believe it. It's quite fanatical. But that's what he captured.
And it's amazing how his interview strategy, where he leaves a lot of room for his subjects to, in a way, self-incriminate. He doesn't lead them too intensely by barreling them with questions.
But I could see Zionists or certain Jewish people feeling like he's leading it in one direction. And I'm sure they would feel it's a propaganda film.
Yeah,
but the proof is in sort of what just watching what's happening. He's documenting something. But it's pretty interesting.
Absolutely. And one of the things I noticed online is there's for people that are in the activist space, there was sort of an interesting conversation coming up about, because people were saying, this documentary has the ability to break through to the mainstream and to get this message across to more people. And they were because a white man is making this argument. A lot of activists felt like people have been yelling about the inhumanity and the tragedy of this whole thing. But I think what I admire about it is that I think artists have the job of continually trying to find new ways to get messages across to an audience that, may not ordinarily want to hear them.
Yeah, ideally, I guess it would get across sooner than later, whatever you want to get across. But if it takes, I don't know, if it takes a white British dude getting it across, I don't know. I just feel that's sort of, sure, but why focus on the negative?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, whatever shows people. I guess it's good just what do they say? Knowledge is power. I guess it's good to know what's going on and then make your decisions for yourself.
Well, that's exactly it. And I think what I've been thinking a lot lately about censorship and politics, and across the board, there seems to be this interest, and people tried, canceling people they disagree with, and if there's like some major offense, but in general, I'm kind of against censoring of the arts. Like I mean, I understand there are rare exceptions where there may be like actually dangerous, whatever, Gigi Allen throwing shit at people.
Sure. Well, I mean, they named, so we saw this great show at the Sydney Comedy Festival at the Factory. Did I say all of those
things? You said all of that correct. Now, do you remember the name of the show?
No.
Refused classification.
There you go.
Do you remember the stars of the show?
Alexei Toliopoulos and someone from
Zachary Ruane from Auntie Donna's.
Auntie Donna's.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is it's like sort of about censorship in Australia with films. And like, I do agree labeling a movie like R-rated, X-rated. So a general rating, and you could say that's censorship to, let people know, like, should I take my child to see this or not? But I do think it's better for it to be up to the individual, like pro-choice or whatever. Like it should be up to an individual to make certain choices. I mean, some people believe you're killing a baby, so that would be, a no-go for them.
Well, we're talking about just media and art. So
yeah.
Let's not go into abortion
I know,
and medical
procedures. I'm just saying in general, but that gets complicated. Anyway, but in general, like leaving it up to the family to decide or you to decide what you want to take in. And when that goes too far, like if something's overtly racist or like whatever, but if something's like an art piece, in any case, this was a fascinating show of tour de force comedic show
about David Stratton and Margaret Pomerantz,
who I,
famous
being
Australian
American,
movie
they're the Siskel and Ebert of Australia. So they break down, movies, or did. They don't. They do still.
They're still around. I'm not sure if they still do the show.
But it's so sweet. So one of the people he was like a little nerd film guy as a little kid. His parents are getting a divorce. He's 12 years old. He's obsessive. He just lives to watch these two people break down movies. And years later, now he, as a comedian and an adult, is doing a show, and he's playing Margaret, who was his hero. Because there was one movie banned that was
Larry Clark's movie Ken Park, following kids.
Yeah, and it was banned. And anyway, it's a funny show showing like Pink Flamingos and all these other movies that have been banned in Australia. But yeah, it's that kind of idea, like how much should a government get involved and not? And it definitely has its, that they believe that art, unless it's something like completely out of control, should be there for you to decide if you want to see it or not. It was really fun. Did you like it?
I absolutely loved it. I loved it. And it is so...
And they play the
Margaret and David. Yeah. No, it's so good. And it is so topical because there's, a lot of current conversation about this band Kneecap, who are the Irish band who had a very pro-Palestine message, getting their US tour visas revoked, which is, it's again like shutting down artistic conversation. I just don't think it betters us as a society. And similarly, on the other side, I don't think banning Israeli artists. Like, I just don't think art should be the focus of where people's like, we want ideas being shared so that we can think and talk about them. Like, if we don't have the freedom to consume different types of media and critically try and comprehend it, it's very hard to actually come to your own opinions about things.
Yeah.
And I seek out media and art that I might disagree with. Like, I love that experience of reading an article or listening to a podcast or listening to music that comes from a totally different viewpoint and trying to find a way into it. Because I think that like intelligence involves, it's fundamental if you want to you develop your intelligence to entertain viewpoints other than the ones that you
and to understand
have.
how things got the way they did. Like, that's what with the Settlers, I was sort of like, well, what would make somebody want to expand in a country that's having such a hard time already? Like, there must be a reason. I may not agree with it at all, but there's always a reason why a country is doing something or somebody's doing something. And I don't know, for me.
And it doesn't mean you can't have a strong feeling of being against something
yeah,
too.
absolutely.
But you should do it after having studied and comprehended and understood it. I just
it's like
think
women being obsessed with, like, a lot of women love the scary shows and the podcast. Like
murder podcasts.
Murder podcasts. And I was one day Googled, like, why are women more than men, like, obsessed with these podcasts about murderers and rapists? And I think it's because women are a little more at risk of something bad happening like that. So it's a way to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something about needing to kind of keep ingesting it to understand why would this happen. And, so anyway, I do think it's important to learn, like you said, all the sides.
Yeah. And when you, coming back to
Except I don't listen to them that anymore after when I would take our dog on a walk alone in Laurel Canyon. And then I was just like too nervous, like listening to a murder podcast alone on a walk. And then I got paranoid that you were slowly trying to murder me with that neti pot.
Yeah, that's right, because we had a neti pot and I'd stopped using tap water because I'd read somewhere once that there's a very small chance, but you could get
So if you know what a neti pot is, it's like the thing when you're clearing out your sinuses and you put warm water with the salt and you clear out your nose. And Ben said one day, oh yeah, you're not supposed to use tap water because there might be some bacteria and it could actually like
get into your brain or something.
Something like that. And then in my mind, I was like, Ben, when did you find that out? And you were like 2 years ago. And you've been seeing me do this for 2 years. I'm like, is he trying to slowly kill me?
That would be the craziest way. Hypothetically, if one partner wanted to murder another, the idea that you would just do it through negligence of such a low risk activity would be very weird.
Yeah.
But still, hey, if you're out there and you have some resentment to your partner, don't murder them in any way, though. I would say. I would really say. But I just want to come back to the Settlers for 1 second. I'd recommend it to people. I really think all types of people should watch when a documentary like this comes along that does give the viewer access to a segment of society that has a huge amount of influence politically at the moment in the world. It's your duty to explore it and go see it. We shouldn't be afraid of ideas. We should go in and look at this confronting material and, make up our minds on our own. So I think these things, I really think challenging art, we need more of it. We need more of it and not shutting people down who want to have complex political conversations in art. Anyway, that's it about Louis Theroux. I was very impressed. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I was equally impressed by?
What?
We had a lovely dinner the other night at our friends Felicity Price and Kieren Darcy-Smith.
Oh my God.
Nash Edgerton, Spencer Susser and Vanessa were there. And there was a post-dinner revelation that floored us both. I mean, it was really one of the big, if last week was shaped by Shaka Khan posting on Instagram, this week was shaped by Kieren's revelation.
Kieren, who, when I did one book reading, I don't know, I was in a room full of a lot of Australia's finest people in the entertainment business. And I said, I've been inspired by all my artist friends. And I pointed to this fellow who we're about to tell the story about, Kieren. I said, like Kieren, which is really funny because he's such a poet. He's like a Australian surfer type. He always plays criminals. And
most recently recognized from How to Make Gravy. He was the head kind of thug in the prison,
he plays,
right?
he's a sweetie pie, but he plays thugs and prisoners and stuff.
But so what was it he said? We're standing around. We've all been drinking wine.
We're about to leave.
And he busts out a wild statement.
He said, well, what do you have to say? He said,
something I said in a movie I improvised once has caught on in culture and I keep seeing it pop up.
And he'd been particularly quiet all night, sort of. So when he's finally was his turn to tell the story, we were all really listening.
So we're all hanging. We're like, what is it that Kieren improv'd in a movie that has caught on in popular culture? And then he says it, and it is the line, I'm going to punch you in the fucking throat.
And so I could not stop laughing because I was the last thing. But the weird thing is, literally yesterday we're showing a friend of ours around Sydney.
Our friend Carolyn was in town from LA.
And we took her to Clove Valley, and then we took her to
the icebergs.
Yeah, and like all the things you do with people from out of town. And then she said, and I was like, I'm going to punch him in the throat.
She said that. That's right. And we were like, our friend Kieren invented that.
He thinks he invented that.
Look, to me, that was the universe giving Kieren the thumbs up.
Yeah, we have to tell him because we were all laughing at him.
Now, she didn't say the fucking throat, so I don't know if that's quite trademarked.
But
the same way Paris Hilton's I'm hot.
Kieren gave it like it could have been either.
He put a little stink on the ball.
Yeah. And we asked Chat GPT, what's the first known record of someone saying, I'm going to punch you in the throat?
Fucking throat. I asked him, why don't you got to give it, if you're going to give credit to somebody, you got to quote them accurately.
Yeah.
Well, and that is, to me, the funny bit is the fucking throat part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. What do you think, beautiful babies? Do you think our friend invented this?
Yeah. Does anybody have a recollection of this phrase about being punched in the fucking throat been used before about 5 years ago? If you do, reach out to us, weedertogetherpod@gmail.com. And perhaps if we can verify that Kieren did originate this phrase, I think we should do a whole episode about it. We bring him in, we get into his mindset, his improvisation techniques, and we wonder if he's got any new phrases that might be
I've only punched someone once, and it was when I thought my brother and Zoe were talking about me.
But wait, in the fucking throat?
No, in the shoulder. It's funny
shoulder.
where you I punched my brother in the shoulder, which is kind of nice of me. I mean, I couldn't imagine punching someone in the face.
Did he laugh or did he?
They both laughed.
They both laughed.
I thought they were talking about me, shit about me. And so I punched them.
Laughter, was that the effect you were going for or?
No. But, but I'm just thinking, would I ever have the instinct to punch someone in the throat? Karate chop them in the throat.
Yeah, totally. What do you call it? The fourth chakra.
And Spock did,
he does
from
that.
Star Trek, he did a kind of pressing on the throat, and it would paralyze some. Well, he was like an alien, right? Spock?
So he had pointy ears.
And he had like some power.
I wanted to thank K Records for my little care package that they just sent me.
You were very excited.
I was so excited. One of my favorite record labels. They had, just classic indie rock label, but
twee,
beat happening. Yeah, very twee kind of stuff. Calvin Johnson, the guy, it's just great history of indie music, but they just sent me a great care package with this shirt and CDs and cassettes, bunch of cassettes and pins, and it took me right back to 92.
Cassette player?
I don't. Might need to get one.
Yeah.
The other thing I was really enjoying, we just had on in the background this morning, was the Blonde Shell album, the new album that's called If You Asked for a Picture, which is really cool. It's also very kind of 90s. It feels like a little like Veruca Salt or something like that, which I know you love.
Yeah.
Seether.
Yep. My era.
Yeah. Where we've been enjoying Rehearsal, second season again, new episode we're about to dig into today.
It's very bonding with Kate. My daughter Kate loves. It's always fun when you have kids and you like shows that they like.
Absolutely.
I mean, but I had a nostalgia for the little, like, you kind of feel like a prisoner when your kids are really little and you have to watch, you don't have to, but sometimes you're watching cartoons that, you're like, oh, I don't really want to watch this cartoon again. But then looking back, you're like, oh my God, that was the best time of my life. But now we genuinely are enjoying shows together.
Sharing things together. How excited are you about our Mother's Day plans this weekend?
Yay. It's my perfect dream of trapping my children with me in a country house.
Yeah, we're going to barrel.
And they're not going to, sometimes my kids get possessive of my time. And they don't, one is like, let's, for example, watch a show. And the other one's like, will you do this with me? And this one wants me to do that. And so because it's Mother's Day, I can say, don't pull me between you two.
Oh, you get to call the shots.
But I never do. I never get to pick. I know I sound like a martyr, a mother and a martyr, but I'm not strong enough. It's my own fault. I'm not good at like making them do what I want, basically.
But you're even doing the mother, like internalizing it as your fault. Maybe it's their fault.
It is. They're rotten.
Yeah.
Yeah. My
Rotten offspring.
Like but Goldie, even if you say, will you watch this with me? She's like, no.
Oh, it's not happening. Yeah.
But Kate's father was very commanding, and which I'm happy because now she's seen so many incredible movies. He's a aficionado of like old movies, and I love old movies. So he forced her, but it's good. Once you force someone, it's like if someone forces you to play piano, it's a drag. But then when you're an adult, you're like, I can play piano.
Totally.
I never could do it. I never could force them.
Before we say goodbye, I just realized, do you want to how was the Gertrude and Alice Bondi book reading? And we did I moderated a talk.
Did I read? I was like,
Q&A
woke up in the middle of the night. I was like, did I read like a really sexy scene?
You did. You read Miranda July's favorite section, the strap-on
section. I read the
section.
sexiest part. And I was like, or the raunchiest part.
Yeah.
And like, it's funny, a couple nights later, I like woke up and I was like, I didn't do that, did I? And then I'm like, yes, I did. But I feel like the crowd was kind of
they were all like
up for it.
They were all Gen X, latent bisexuals, Yeah.
Latent. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Great.
Yeah. And now I'm nervous because I have to do more in Brisbane. I like the readings, but I do get like nervous about the readings, even though they're so good.
Yeah.
I get a bit of stage fright.
Well, you're an off the cuff performer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we wrap it up? Beautiful
Okay.
babies. Thank you for joining us once again.
Serious episode.
A little bit serious, but we can do that. We can go uptown. We can go downtown.
Yeah.
And we will.
Thank you for listening. We always love when we bump into a beautiful baby.
We do. Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's
Have
so
a great
good.
week, everybody.
Everybody have a good week. See ya.
Together we're weirder together.